Getting some breaking news when it comes to the diplomatic maneuvering between Pakistan and the United States. Now, US President Joe Biden has called out Pakistan now, saying what I think is maybe one of the most dangerous nations in the world is Pakistan. Nuclear weapons without any cohesion. He said this at the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee reception. That's the pitch coming in from Joe Biden. I'm joined by my colleague Abhishek Jha, who tracks international affairs for us. Abhishek, this is a very strange statement coming in from Joe Biden. We've learned from sources that America is campaigning hard to pull Pakistan out of the grey list when it comes to the FATF. And now this statement coming in from the US president.
Of course, Ashmasi, this is like our earlier guest was saying. People around the world, leaders around the world know the reality of Pakistan, but they have been protecting Pakistan and its system to serve their own vested interests. Like in the case of 80s, that was Soviet. Then later on in 90s, they also wanted a strong military support base in this region. Then came the Taliban war. So all across last 3-4 decades, Pakistan has been a very military support base for them, and that has allowed Pakistan, with all the heinous and terroristic activities that Pakistani establishment have been involved, to get away with that. And while Joe Biden was making the statement, he also said about that in reference to China, in reference to India, he has to how he's trying to evolve the relationship. But he said about Pakistan that Pakistan is an irresponsible state. Pakistan has a nuclear arsenal, and Pakistan's state is not in cohesion. We know how military there has been 3 military dictatorship in the 75 years of Pakistan's independent history. Almost 35 years of Pakistan's independent history since 1947 has been under the military rule. There not even the single prime minister of Pakistan has been able to complete its term, including the last prime minister Imran Khan. So clearly there is a democratic setup which is talked about in Pakistan does not exist, and there has been a military establishment that operates from behind the curtain, and has always been a struggle going on. And in that case, such a important nuclear arsenal being in a country like that, where there is irresponsible regimes all across in the last several decades, is clearly a concern that global bodies should acknowledge. And the latest commentary by President of USA is a positive underlining that fact.
Right. Patikret, you were speaking about this just a few minutes back. This is a very laughable foreign policy where, and External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar also called it out a few weeks ago, where you say something in your political arena, but to pursue your strategic agenda, your foreign policy is diametrically opposite to what you pitch at home.
This has been the kind of double game the West has played for a long time. If you look at it, if you look at Afghanistan, the amount of land that was under poppy cultivation before the US invasion in 2001 was around 8,000 acres or something like that. That has gone, as per certain reports, that has been enhanced by 100 times in the last 20 years when the Americans were present over there, interestingly. So you see that on one hand, they say talk about fight against drugs, and on the other hand, they did very little to eradicate the poppy cultivation in Afghanistan when they were in Afghanistan. Secondly, when it comes to Pakistan, look at the President of United States making these statements against Pakistan. At the same time, when they supply those F-16 and the sustainment equipment for F-16, what $450 million, which I don't think Pakistan is even in a position to pay, and perhaps the whole deal is being financed by United States itself. So when they give this, they give the excuse that they're giving it to Pakistan to fight terror, and that's the most ridiculous logic and argument to give, because the so-called war on terror in Afghanistan is over, and certainly I don't think the Americans are expecting Pakistan to use those F-16s against Hizbul Mujahideen or Lashkar-e-Toiba or Jaish-e-Mohammed. Against Tehrik-e-Taliban, it's a different matter, and I don't think the Pakistanis want to start that front all over again. So the reality is they gave those F-16 equipment for a specific purpose, to contain one specific country, that is India. And at the same time, they will quote India. They will put out overtures because they would need India as a market, and they want India to become a manufacturing hub. They want India to contain China. They need India to contain China. So these are the double speaks and the double game. And perhaps I think at times even the US administration is not aware what the CIA does, and perhaps the vice versa. So they all work in different directions. Apparently each side thinks, oh, they are with us, but eventually it converts to one specific thing: to keep the American interest at the highest pivotal, and everything else can go to hell. So the reality is, I don't get impressed by these statements by Joe Biden. These are the balancing statements that they give, but in reality, they would not allow Pakistan to sink, and they have not allowed ever. And I am pretty confident that in the recent future they would help Pakistan to come out of the FATF grey list. And they're doing it about a country which their previous president has stated that all that Pakistan has done in 15, 20 years, in spite of taking $33 billion, is to give United States nothing but deceit and lies. So this is the reality of United States. Yes, United States is a strategic partner of India. In certain respect, the relation is great. But at the same time, there is a saying about United States said by a very prominent American that it is fatal. It is dangerous to be America's enemy, but to be America's friend is fatal. That is something we should keep in mind. These are the games which they are playing, which can only harm one specific country, that is India. Whether it's a narcotic terror, whether it is cross-border smuggling of fake currencies and arms, everything Pakistan does, and United States, in spite of being a strategic partner of India, knowing all these things, keep Pakistan in good humor, because they know today or tomorrow they would require Pakistan again for all the dirty work that they make Pakistan do on behalf of the West. So these statements are balancing act. In reality, I think the Democrats have always had a weak point and sympathy for Pakistan, and I think that will remain in the way it was ever in the past.
Right. Thank you, Pathakrit Payne, for joining us on the broadcast and giving us your comprehensive take on the diplomatic maneuverings